you guys got together for season two, how involved were you with sort of the trajectory of the story, the direction of the time jump a bit? We come back and fill in some details, but what was the thought process with that?
That really is the mastermind of the writers, Max Borenstein, Rodney Barnes, Jim Heck. So I would love to take credit for it. I think I think that but we did all talk about it. And I think that, the reason for it was we thought, there's so much ground to cover, obviously, but how do we get to what fans are looking for, which is getting this Celtics Lakers rivalry,
Right.
getting to Larry and Magic, and getting to Bus and Red. And I think that was really what it was all about. And it was definitely, but then it was up to me to direct it and make it make sense. It's hard when you're jumping through so many different years to help the audience track what's going on. And that really became the puzzle for all of us, to make sure that it was tracking. And that was the hard part. And believe me, there were many different cuts where we're like, I don't know if you get this. I don't know if you understand. And really putting this puzzle together.
One of the things that I love so much about this series is visually how you take different elements, VHS, and just combine different things in the visual effects. What are sort of those conversations like as to when to add them in, when to animate Magic Shirt so that it winks at you, those little touches that are all in there, but enhance the overall storytelling?
Well, coming back in the second season, obviously it becomes a little easier. And I did the show last season, so you start getting a feel for it. Anna McKay set up sort of a style of how the show was, although we break the rules whenever we want to. Um, Sometimes a lot of those things, like the shirt talking or his knee or something, that has been written in. Um, and then there's things that, as me and the DP will go, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we did this? And we try it. That's what's been wonderful about the show, that they give us a freedom to try things, and they trust me, and they trust the DP, and so we can sort of have fun and do what we'd like.
Amazing. I love that. So for you coming in as an EP this season, what was that like for you? And what aspect of the story were you looking forward to bringing out in the episodes that you direct or sort of highlighting?
Well, there were two things. One, I knew that they were really going to be diving up and, diving into more of the family aspects of Magic and Jerry Buss. So I love directing great drama, and this season we really give it to you. And I also knew that the basketball was going to be bigger, and was going to take up a lot of real estate this season. And I started last year, but this year I felt like I still had more of that world to conquer. And when you see the last two episodes, I think that me and Todd Van Hazel, the DP, really found a way to direct some exciting basketball sequences that no one has seen before.
So, speaking of that, like, were you a basketball fan? What has that been like, sort of getting up to speed and diving into shooting basketball and making it look realistic, but still exciting so that, it touches us in a current way?
Well, I played basketball in high school, loved basketball. So I get that competitiveness. I know basketball enough. I know how to be a coach to these guys. I know what kind of language to have with them. So it makes it a little easier when I'm on the floor directing it. But I do tackle these sequences like an action sequence. And it's kind of like you kind of start with these wides, and then you get in there and you get the pieces to tell I say, the narrative inside the basketball. Because if you want to just see this old footage, you could watch it on YouTube. So my job is to get in there and tell the emotions of that. And yes, it was a little bit of a learning curve, but for some reason, I'm good with big kind of show pieces like this, and breaking it down into the smaller pieces. So it wasn't too long, and again, I think we figured it out.
Absolutely. So for a story like this, that's not just about the Lakers or Magic or Dr. Buss, it also encompasses the NBA's history as a whole. And obviously, it starts with the writers and what's on the page. There are aspects of history that are shown and sort of highlighted between segments. How do you decide which parts you want to bring out and which parts you kind of want to draw attention to for us as the audience?
Um, Again, it's like there are some moments that in history, it's almost like you have to do it, or if you don't, it doesn't make any sense. But again, that's a hard one for me because I can't take credit for that stuff. That's really about the writers, doing that research and figuring out what stories make the most sense. The guys do a lot of research. Besides Jeff Pearlman's book, they are able to pull. I mean, they can pull from many different things. There's been so much press on these guys, so I think it's just finding like what's going to fill the best drama for the show, and what's going to teach us, and give the fans what they're looking for to learn more about these guys.
So, as a fan of the show, what is exciting to you about season two from that perspective? Just story unfold. Some
I,
of these things, to your point, are known, but yeah.
I think I learned more about Larry Bird, believe it or not, even though he's not a Laker. And I think it was important for us to understand who Larry was, so that we care about him too when we see the rivalry between Magic and Larry. He's not just some bad guy, because we do know that in the future, Larry and Magic became friends, and they admired each other. So this is sort of learning about that from the beginning. I've been also fascinated learning how basketball became what it is today. I didn't know that really that was Jerry Buss and Magic Johnson who, started like what we see now, started these big payouts, Magic, doing so, all these ads and becoming that huge superstar. It really started with the Lakers and Showtime basketball.
So, getting to tell these type of stories that involve family, but also competitiveness, what is something that you will take away from this experience that you'll carry forward in your other elsewhere?
Oh, in my other work, oof. Listen, after doing this show, I can do anything. this is a this is a beast. This show is hard. There's a lot of moving parts. You have a lot of big personalities in the actors. It's just a really huge machine, and I feel personally it's been a huge accomplishment for me, and a wonderful growing experience. And again, if I can do this show, I'm like, I can throw anything at me. Nothing could be this hard.
And so, in wrapping up, what would be sort of your message to fans about the waning episodes that we have this season? What should they be on the lookout for? Because again, there's many stories that can be told inside of this one story, but what do you think that they should keep a special note for?
Oh my gosh. Oh, there's so many. I just, what I really try to tell people about this show, I don't know if is going to necessarily answer your question, but it's, even if you're not a basketball fan per se, the personal stories in this, like the personal love story with Magic and Cookie that people think they know, um, the behind the scenes stuff with Jerry Buss and his kids and that dynamic, that is so interesting and done and written so well that anyone can watch this show. And then if you happen to be a basketball fan too, then you get that. But don't shy away from the show just because you think, oh, I don't know basketball. It's really about people and those relationships at the end of the day.
which I love. Thank you. Oh, one last thing before I go. I saw an interview with Jeannie Buss, and she commented about how much she enjoyed basically John C. Riley's portrayal. It reminded of her father and things of that nature. Because of some of the rocky start, is that sort of validating or encouraging that, they're coming around to it because it's a well-told story, very well cast? Or
Um,
does that even track?
no, no, of course, we're honored, and I'm sure that's more of an honor for John C. Riley. He works very hard to bring integrity to that character and to get it right. And the fact that the real Jeannie feels like she's, seeing a piece of her father up there, that's just a testament to honestly the work that John C. Riley has done on this show.